The 2011 Rolex Sydney Hobart race proved one of the closest and most unpredictable in its 67-year history.
Yacht racing, it's a cruel but beautiful sport.
Come on, best him!
It's going to be hand-to-hand, mano-a-mano.
At its heart, a compelling battle for line honours and professional pride.
Get the jib on, get the main on!
Among the elite of Australian sailing.
This could be an opening we're looking for.
With remarkable exploits elsewhere in the fleet, it's a story in which character, courage and controversy all played their part.
If it goes against them, they can potentially be disqualified.
This is an international jury that's always appointed to big races like this.
With varied conditions, shifting winds and a constantly changing narrative.
Get ready to rake!
This year, the 628 miles from Sydney to Hobart had it all. The Melbourne Cricket Ground, the MCG, the spiritual home of Australian sport. A venue for Test cricket, Australian rules football and many other events, including the 1956 Olympics, it's one of the 10 largest sports arenas on the planet. A testament to the country's love of games, the great outdoors and competition at the highest level.
We go to world-class events and we want to win. It's just the Australian way. It's also a sense of belonging and having a team to support, and then going along and screaming your guts out.
I think generally Australians are inspired by some of the great feats where we do compete on a world stage.
Australians, it's in their very nature to love sport. There's no secret to the fact that the sports section in the newspapers is the biggest section. We love our sport and we love to support our teams.
Every 26th of December, the MCG hosts the Boxing Day Test match, which shares the day with another time-honoured feature of the Australian sports calendar, the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race, as much a part of an Australian Christmas as plum pudding and pavlova.
At the time of the Rolex Sydney Hobart race, it's the silly season. It's what we call high summer. There's great euphoria. We've just had Christmas. We've got the new year coming. And sport is the key element of all of that.
For mainland Australians, all they think about apart from cricket on Boxing Day is the start of the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. It's part of our psyche. Generations have grown up with this race.
It almost happens just at the right time, really, because we have the morning session of the cricket, they break for lunch, and then around 1 o'clock the race starts on Sydney Harbour, and we have thousands and thousands of people come to watch, and it is such a beautiful event, and people just absolutely love it.
It's a total tradition. It's a gay man who stands up and says, oh, I'm not watching a cricket or I'm not watching the Hobart race, because you just have to be part of that in Australia.
This year, 88 crews have assembled at Sydney's Cruising Yacht Club of Australia to prepare for what remains one of offshore racing's greatest challenges. After leaving Sydney Harbour, the fleet will have a big southerly front to contend with along the coast of New South Wales before crossing the treacherous Bass Strait to negotiate the shifty winds off the east coast of Tasmania and the equally tactical final stretch across Storm Bay and up the Derwent River to Hobart. The runaway favourite for line honours in this year's race is Bob Oatley's Supermaxi, Wild Oats 11, the course record holder and the first boat home in 5 of the last 6 races. Their biggest rival is Anthony Bell's Investec Loyal, crewed by a mix of top sailing professionals, up-and-coming talent and stars from other sports. Bell's campaign is also a fundraising vehicle for Australian youth and medical projects. Their aims may be charitable, but after finishing second to Wild Oats 11 last year, Bell's men will be giving nothing away.
We are a different campaign. We've got critics everywhere. I just got in Melbourne yesterday and I was listening about Wild Oats being unbeatable. But the big difference this year is how good a professional crew we have, because the boat's also gained enough credibility that people take our campaign seriously. And so they should. So this boat is almost perfect for us to go and do something special. This race will go all the way to the very, very end to work out who actually wins and who doesn't. I'm very, very proud to have all of you coming sailing. We are well prepared. We should go and say bye to our families. And let's go out there and have 2 great days of our lives.
In Melbourne, the first session of the Boxing Day Test is coming to an end. In Sydney Harbour, the day's second great spectacle is about to begin.
30 seconds to be gone, 30 seconds.
Televisions are retuned and a sporting ritual reenacted.
Yeah, go to hold it. Hold, come on, you're sailing on the wind. That's it, lovely start.
Go, Bella! Jib on!
Lift off in the 2011 Sydney Hobart.
Come on, to the keel.
Loyal's had a great start here. Wild Oats wanting to accelerate through. Very pumped up, Mark Richards. That means a lot to these guys.
Good angle there, hold that angle.
Investec Loyal tacks over. This is going to be very tight.
That's it, hold it there.
Haven't they done well on Brindabella? And Lahana has shown a very good speed. They're not far behind.
That's good there, hold there. Keep coming at him.
They are leading the way. They're round the first mark. The 2011 Sydney Hobart. Investec Loyal right on their heels here. So first Wild Oats followed by Investec Loyal. We're back on board now. The Line Honours favourite attempting their 6th Line Honours victory in 7 years. And they will be taking off like a rocket ship now in these conditions.
For all the talk of Wild Oats 11 and Investec Loyal before this year's race, it's an 18-year-old woman who has stolen much of the limelight. Australian Jessica Watson became front-page news around the world in May 2010, when at 16 she became the youngest person to sail solo, non-stop and unassisted around the world.
210 days, I didn't see another person. That's just empty horizons for days on end. At the same time, you know, your little boat, it's your home, that's your whole world. Check that out, got Cape Horn there.
Jessica completed her historic 23,000-mile voyage on the 34-foot-long Ellis Pink Lady. After months of solitude and battling mountainous seas, she returned home to thousands as a national hero.
I'm actually going to disagree with what our Prime Minister has just said. I don't consider myself a hero. I'm an ordinary girl who believed in her dream. You don't have to be someone special or anything special to achieve something amazing. It is amazing when somebody does come up to you, when a little girl comes up to you and says, hey, look, you sailed around the world. You made me realise I could pass my exam, or you made me realise I could change school and you know, improve something here. And I love hearing those things.
Just 18 months later, Jessica has another challenge in her sights.
We're aiming to be the youngest team to compete in the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. So we've got 18 to 21-year-olds on board and our average age is 19. I'm the skipper on board, but we're all learning from each other and really doing it, you know, as a team.
Jessica's only 18 years old. It's her first Hobart. It's an enormous role as a skipper. You have to be very measured and calm and well prepared, and I think she's all of those three, so I'm sure she'll do very well.
At the head of the fleet, the Line Honours contenders are making rapid progress. Wild Oats 11 has a 6-mile lead over Investec Loyal, for the time being as much concerned about plugging a leak as plugging the gap.
Get a good look at that cloud feature down there. You know something's coming. The breeze is getting a little bit funky now, making it just to pay a little bit more attention. We'll make a little bit of ground on those rat bags in front of us.
Muscling its way towards the fleet is a strong southerly front, bringing rain, hail, and 40-knot winds in its wake. Watch Captain Tom Braidwood is taking no chances.
Get ready to race. Ready on the inboard end. Ready on the inboard end. Ready on outboard. Ready outboard. Ready on the main. Main off. Downhole off. Out it up.
Conditions in this race can be extremely hazardous. Over 500 nautical miles of testing sailing lie ahead. But help, should it be needed, is not so far away.
We're a dedicated search and rescue helicopter based on the coast just south of Sydney, looking after coastal rescue. Westpac Lifesaver, Peter.
In the build-up to this year's race, the Westpac Lifesaver Helicopter Rescue Service took part in a training exercise in conjunction with the crew of Wild Oats 11.
Okay guys, just had a call from 13 Surf. We've got a Super Maxi in trouble. So what we're going to do is go over to Sydney Harbour into Farm Cove, pick one of their crew out of the water and rescue them into the helicopter, just to show them what's involved with a helicopter rescuing someone from a yacht.
It's very much teamwork. Without the three of us all working as a team, the job just couldn't be done. We need good communication skills between each other to be successful with our missions.
Since 1998, when 6 sailors lost their lives in the race, safety standards have improved significantly.
One of the most important things doing a boat operation, for example a yacht, is getting good information from the crew on deck. Yachties generally have a very good eye for detail, and any information we can get on the condition of the patient or the vessel, size, direction, heading, speed, all those things come into account when we're preparing to do a winch.
You have visual with the survivor. He's in your 12 o'clock now, Pete.
Yep, got him inside.
Okay, bringing Chris out to the door. Checks are complete.
The most important thing is the safety of the rescue crewman. Once he's out here, it's my job to make sure that he remains safe.
Okay, Chriso's in the water, steady, good position there. Chriso's with the survivor.
But also, we do have to get the job done as well. There's a little bit of excitement, there's certainly a lot of satisfaction when the job comes to a successful conclusion.
Okay, Chriso and the survivor are on board now.
Okay, we'll just start heading for hospital.
In Tasmania, life is considered marginally more sedate than on the mainland. But events on day 2 of the race are being as closely monitored here as everywhere else.
There are 3 pairs in Bass Strait in the Rolex Sydney Hobart. Wild Oats 11 leading Investec Loyal towards the final leg, Lahana leading Hugo Boss in the middle, and Loki leading Living Doll at the start of the 250-kilometre stretch known as the Paddock. The rest are bunched between Eden and Turos Head on the New South Wales south coast, sailing straight into an uncomfortable southerly swell. There have been 3 withdrawals, including 98-footer Grant Warrington's former winner, Wild Thing. In Hobart, Steve Barker reporting.
It's a long way from the clamour of the MCG to the comparative calm of Tattersalls Park, the Elwick racecourse just outside Hobart. But there's a committed public to be found here too. Australia's love of sport and predicting the outcome comes in many forms. In harness racing, horses pull a 2-wheeled cart at a specific gait, a trot or a pace. To help attract punters, races are often handicapped according to the horse's size, levelling the playing field and spreading victories among multiple entrants. Sailing's equivalent is the IRC rating system, where a time correction factor is applied to each yacht's elapsed time based on measurements such as its length, sail area and hull shape.
The beauty of this sort of ocean racing is that you have yachts worth $12 million, and yet they can be beaten by a yacht that's cost $200,000 because they have a handicap rule. That handicap rule really does give the battler a chance against the billionaire.
The boats first across the line receive most of the limelight, but it's the race for handicap honours and the Tattersalls Cup that carries greater prestige.
It's about handicap. It's about which yacht, which crew has sailed best to their ability and the size of their boat. And it's a boat that wins on handicap that really gets all the accolades from fellow yachties.
At this stage of the race, there are several potential winners on overall handicap, including Victoire and Stephen Ainsworth's Loki. Jessica Watson's crew lies mid-fleet in their own private battle with the other Sydney 38s. 24 hours after the southerly wind shift hits the fleet, Investec Loyal's duel with Wild Oats 11 is nearing a critical phase.
Just approaching the other side of Bass Strait. Wild Oats is just up ahead. They're still stopped and we've gone into the new breeze, so this could be an opening we're looking for.
Well, I'm looking at Wild Oats here. They're just forward of a beam of us, about 6 miles away.
We've taken probably 11 or 12 miles out of them in the last hour and a half, 2 hours sailing.
Wild Oats 11 have hit trouble, sailing sluggishly in the wind shadow of a large cloud. Their rivals avoid it, and the impact is immediate.
Wild Oats 11 no longer leads. The chess game that is this year's Rolex Sydney Hobart for the Super Maxis could be won or lost around about now. Investec Loyal has not only made up all lost ground, that's 20 nautical miles, she now leads by 5 nautical miles. Both are way offshore and positioning for fickle wind flow overnight. It's certainly going to be an interesting night.
Nighttime maneuvers continue, and by the morning of the third day, the situation has changed again.
Look, it's been a tricky night. It's been a tricky 24 hours, really. But so far, we're in front just, but still a lot of tricky stuff in front of us.
Much credit to the loyal guys, Stan Honey, Michael Coxon, really put in a great effort. They sailed around us and gave a textbook example of how to come from behind in a sailboat race. Today it's tables turned slightly. We will have a tough fight every second of the way till the finishing line. Michael Coxon's probably been up the Derwent as many times as anyone in the world, and he knows it like the back of his hand. It's going to be a tough race and it's a long way from over.
For Burns, skipper Mark Richards and crew, the race gets a whole lot tougher as predicted when a few hours later, Wild Oats 11 sails into a patch of dead air off the southeast corner of Tasman Island. But De Anthony Bell's men have the self-belief to now take and hold a winning position against a crew that have completed over 200 Sydney-Hobart races between them. Slip up here, and the winners of 5 line honours titles just behind them could soon be celebrating a 6th. As the 2 Super Maxis head northwest for Hobart, Investec Loyal holds a narrow advantage. Ahead of them, a tense and tactical duel across Storm Bay and the nerve-shredding final miles up the Derwent River. After a 628-mile match race with their rivals, Investec Loyal is first across the line in a time of 2 days, 6 hours, 14 minutes and 8 seconds. It's the custom for crews finishing the race to receive a crate of beer. Bell's men are served only with a protest from the race committee. Wild Oats 11 crosses the line just 3 minutes and 8 seconds later. The event's closest finish in nearly 30 years and the 4th closest ever. But are their rivals about to be denied the victory for which they battled so hard?
In short, guys, this is what happened. During the trip, and we're just confirming exactly when that was, ABC contacted the boat and they actually asked for an interview with myself. I was steering at the time, so I couldn't do that interview. Michael Coxon was sitting next to Stan Hay, the navigator, and he actually did attend the interview. During that, Michael asked a question to see, he thought or seen that Wild Oats may have actually had an issue with their mainsail. The reason he asked the question was because he is the CEO of North Sails, who provide the mainsail to them, and he was concerned as to the valid information, if there's been a breakage on the boat and whether that might have any effect on his reputation, as a sail provider. These things cost $250,000, and of course he would be concerned, as to his business reputation. And we got on with the race. We are confident that the outcome will confirm our victory.
Were you surprised when you heard the news about Loyal?
I was actually, I have to say, because we didn't hear it until just as we come into the dock. So, but it's God, I've got no idea what the whole thing is all about. So, no, those guys won on the water. And we came second. That's how we think about it. So, that's all there is to it, you know. They did a great job, those guys, and they deserve the win.
It's the following morning before the race committee's protest can be heard.
Now we're looking at empty stairs up to the easterly light coming through. They're taking their time, evaluating the evidence put before them and still deliberating. So no decision as yet, and it's a very important decision that's made because if it goes against them, they can potentially be disqualified.
This is an international jury that's always appointed to big races like this, so that there is essentially an independent umpire if issues do arise. And I can tell you now more about the situation that transpired in the chopper 2 days ago. We do have that piece of audio now.
You don't mind if we try and call you again then later in the afternoon? No, you're most welcome to call us. Hey, can you confirm, does Wild Oats have their tristle up? Over. I'm actually not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not a sailing person myself. What colour is the sail they've got up, the main sail they've got up? Grey, wasn't it? Yeah, they're both got grey sails up. Copy that. That's great news. Thanks. Bye.
3 hours elapsed before the jury's decision is reached.
Guys, the protest was heard. We had Stan Honey, who was our navigator, attend. Michael Coxon also attended to give evidence on the matter of the protest. The full committee has dismissed the process and announced us as the winner of the race in Line Honours.
How are you feeling now?
Thank you.
Protest aside, you finally beaten Wild Oats and you can finally celebrate. How do you feel?
It is an against the odds victory, I guess, for us. I'm still waiting for one of my crew members to wake me up and say, "You're on watch, get up," you know what I mean? You're still halfway through the race, you know.
It's not long before the media's second story of the day arrives. 18-year-old solo sailing phenomenon Jessica Watson and her crew have become the youngest ever to compete in the Rolex Sydney Hobart race. She takes second place in the Sydney 38 class, the novelty of having had someone to talk to still to wear off.
Crew are absolutely awesome. Honestly, all credit goes to them. I really just held on for the ride. My job as skipper was putting them in their places before we left, and all credit goes to them. They did amazing.
For Anthony Bell and his crew, though, there's the ultimate satisfaction, finally confirmed as Line Honours winners at their third attempt after a battle that raged from the opening gun.
The 2011 Rolex Sydney Hobart champions.
And when the wind shuts down on the smaller boats on the last leg of the race, it's the crew of the Rykel Pew 63 Loki who are declared race winners on IRC Handicap. Skipper Stephen Ainsworth steps forward to receive the Tattersalls Cup, and with it, the respect and admiration of yachtsmen everywhere. Next time on Rolex Spirit of Yachting, we'll be in Hong Kong for the 50th anniversary of the China Sea Race, the Asian blue water classic that provides the yachting world's very best cruise with some of its most spectacular sailing.